You have already tried everything. You have sprayed, spread, watered, and the pests still keep coming back. Not because you are doing it wrong, but because you are using the wrong solution. Every season, it is the same story. Aphids, fungus gnats, thrips, you treat them, it gets better, and 4 weeks later, everything starts all over again. That is because most garden products fight symptoms, not causes. You kill today's pests, and at the same time wipe out the beneficial insects that would keep tomorrow's pests in check. A cycle that costs you time, money, and harvest season after season. And the frustrating part? The industry has no interest in that cycle ending. There is one solution that breaks this cycle. No chemicals, no residue, no harm to your soil life. It costs about $1. And it has probably been sitting in your medicine cabinet for years, right behind the bandages. Today, I will show you exactly how to use it correctly, which amounts work for which pest, and the 3 mistakes you absolutely need to avoid. You will learn. First, how to get rid of fungus gnats, aphids, thrips, and even root aphids with it for good, with the exact mixing ratios for every single pest. Second, which 3 mistakes during use can burn your plants, damage your soil life, or even make the infestation worse. And third, this surprises most people, how the same bottle also works indoors against drain flies, mold, and stubborn household pests. Stay until the end, because that is where you will also find the complete mixing chart at a glance. Fungus gnats creep in slowly, and then suddenly, not slowly at all. In the first week, you may see 2 flies. By the 3rd week, there are swarms. A single female lays up to 200 eggs per week. What looks like a small thing today is, in 3 weeks, a full-blown infestation that you can barely get under control with simple methods anymore. But the real problem is not the fly. The fly is only the messenger. It is the larvae. They live in the top 2 centimeters of moist soil and feed on fine roots. For mature plants, that is unpleasant. For seedlings, the damage is often fatal before you even realize what is happening. You see wilting, think it is a lack of water, water more, and make it worse because moist soil creates exactly the conditions the larvae need. The solution is simpler than you think. 1 part 3% hydrogen peroxide to 4 parts water. But before you water, let the top 2 centimeters of soil dry out first. Moist soil protects the larvae. They survive in the moisture until the treatment no longer works. Only once the surface is dry should you water thoroughly. You will see the soil fizz and form bubbles. That is not a reaction you need to fear. It is oxidation at work. It kills larvae and eggs on contact. 2 treatments, 1 week. That was the most visible pest on this list. Now come the ones you can see, but may be treating the wrong way. Most experienced gardeners believe they know how to fight aphids, and yet they come back every year. The reason is not a lack of effort. The reason is the product itself. Chemical broad-spectrum sprays do not just kill aphids, spider mites, and mealybugs, they wipe out ladybugs, parasitic wasps, and predatory mites right along with them. In other words, exactly the beneficial insects that would provide pest control for free. Day after day, season after season, without you having to do anything. When you eliminate these natural predators, you are on your own. The next infestation comes faster, is stronger, and you reach for the bottle again. That is not a coincidence. That is the cycle I talked about at the beginning. The alternative, 1 tablespoon of 3% hydrogen peroxide in 1 gallon of water. But before you treat the whole plant, test the mixture on a single leaf and wait 24 hours. Some plants, especially sensitive herbs or young shoots, react with discoloration. Most people skip this step and then they wonder about leaf. Then spray and do it thoroughly on the undersides of the leaves, where aphids, spider mites, and mealybugs prefer to hide and feed. Never in direct sun, the combination of peroxide and heat can burn leaves. Closed flowers, early morning or late evening is ideal. The beneficial insects stay, the pests do not. What I'm going to show you next is the pest most gardeners completely underestimate because they only see it once the population is already out of control. When you see the silvery streaks, the distorted new growth, the tiny dark specks of droppings on the foliage, then the population has already gone through several generations. Thrips are so small that you can barely see them with the naked eye, but they reproduce faster than almost any other pest in the garden. That means irregular treatment is not just ineffective, it is actively counterproductive. You kill the weakest individuals, give the more robust ones time to recover, and by the next infestation, you are facing a more resistant population. If you want to fight thrips, you have to do it consistently. So here, there is a clear rule: 1 part peroxide to 1 part water. And that every week, without exception, directly onto the top layer of soil. For adult insects on the foliage, first rinse the plant with a strong stream of water to mechanically remove the bulk of them, then follow up with the diluted solution. If you miss a single week, you start over. Now I am coming to the pest I call the silent catastrophe. It works exactly where you never look and causes symptoms that look like a completely different problem. Your plant is drooping. The soil is moist. You have fertilized, you have adjusted the watering, you have tried everything. And it still keeps declining. Many experienced gardeners know this picture, and most of them first think of nutrient deficiency, waterlogging, or root rot. Root aphids work underground directly on the root system. They suck plant sap from the fine roots and leave behind a whitish, waxy substance, which you only see if you take the plant out of the pot and examine the roots closely. They cause wilting and yellowing that look exactly like lack of water or nitrogen deficiency. The wrong diagnosis costs weeks. If you have a plant that does not recover despite all your care, take it out of the pot. Look at the roots. If you see white, woolly patches, you have root aphids. Then, the same mixture as for fungus gnats. 1 part peroxide to 4 parts water, poured directly into the soil and with potted plants also directly onto the exposed roots. The oxidation reaches the pests exactly where no spray can reach. After that, fresh soil, a clean pot, and the plant has a real chance. Check this for first in the future when a plant is suffering for no clear reason. And we are not done yet. Because after a pest infestation, the next problem often follows. And it grows silently and green on the surface of your soil. After a pest infestation, a plant is weakened. The cell walls are damaged, the plant's immune system is under stress, and that is exactly the invitation fungi need. Powdery mildew, botrytis, fungal film on the soil surface. You have just beaten the pests, and now the next problem arrives. This is the moment when most gardeners give up and reach for expensive fungicides. Do not do that, at least not right away. The same diluted spray you already use against pests can effectively slow early fungal problems on leaves and soil surfaces. It is not a cure for severe diseases, and you will not save a plant that is already heavily infected with it. But as a first measure for a small powdery mildew spot for a developing fungal film, it is often enough to stop the progression. Always test on a small area first, wait 1 day. Spray only in low light, early in the morning or in the evening. Always avoid flowers, and if the infestation does not go down after 2 treatments, then it is time for a specialized product. And now comes the part most viewers did not expect, because the same bottle also helps you indoors, against problems that have nothing to do with the garden. The properties that make hydrogen peroxide so effective in the garden, oxidation, no toxic residue, decomposition into water and oxygen, do not stop once you go back inside. Drain flies. They reproduce in the organic slime that builds up in pipes, invisible until you suddenly see dozens of little flies buzzing around your sink. Pour 1 cup of undiluted 3% hydrogen peroxide directly into the drain, let it sit overnight and rinse with hot water. Repeat daily for 1 week. The bubbling action breaks down the organic buildup and kills eggs and larvae. Mold spots on grout and tile. Spray or apply undiluted 3% hydrogen peroxide directly onto the affected area. Let it sit for 10 to 15 minutes, then scrub. Fleas in the house, spray diluted solution on carpets, upholstered furniture, and baseboards. Every few days, consistently over 2 to 3 weeks, because flea pupae can survive in the environment for weeks. Never mix hydrogen peroxide with vinegar. This combination creates peracetic acid, toxic when inhaled, corrosive on the skin. That also applies to small amounts.